Welcome back, everyone. We've done some deep dives into the world of scams before.
Yeah, we have.
But today we're heading to India.
Ooh, interesting.
It seems like things over there are, well, they're getting pretty bad.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a really concerning situation developing over there. India's facing this sort of perfect storm when it comes to scams.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, perfect storm. And we're going to explore why that is today.
Okay.
But first, you need to understand just how widespread this has become.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Okay, try to wrap your head around this. In May of this year, India was averaging 7,000 cybercrime complaints.
Whoa.
Every single day.
Every day.
Not per week, not per month, every day.
That's a crazy number. It's hard to even grasp, really, the scale of that.
It is.
So what kind of impact is this having on people?
The financial impact. It's massive. I mean, between January and April of this year alone,
Oh, wow.
Indians lost over 4,750 crore rupees.
1,750 crore rupees.
To cybercriminals.
To cybercriminals.
Which translates to billions and billions of rupees.
Oh, gosh.
And this is a big surge compared to just a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Clearly something has shifted, and
Not in a good way.
not in a good way, no.
So it's not just a few isolated incidents.
No.
It's like India is experiencing this, like, wave of cybercrime.
Yes.
And it's hitting people hard.
Yeah.
But what kinds of scams are we talking about here specifically?
Whoa.
What are the most common things that are catching people off guard?
That's what's so fascinating and troubling at the same time. It's not just one type of scam.
Right.
We're seeing everything.
Really?
Romance scams to job scams, investment scams,
Yeah.
even scams where criminals impersonate police officers
Wow.
to extort money.
Really?
It really does feel like the Wild West out there.
Wow. That's quite a range.
It is.
Maybe we should break down some of these scam types. Give our listeners a clearer idea of what to watch out for. I know we've got that heartbreaking story about a romance scam victim.
We do.
Oh.
Yes, it's a really stark example of how devastating these scams can be.
Yep.
A mechanical engineer from Vizag,
Zach.
which is a city on the southeastern coast of India,
Okay.
lost a staggering 28 lakh rupees,
28 lakh.
which is nearly 35,000 US dollars,
Wow.
to someone he met on a dating app. He believed they were falling in love.
That's just awful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to believe someone could be so cruel.
I know.
Does the scammer just come right out and ask for money?
No, it's rarely that straightforward.
Right.
Romance scammers, they're masters of manipulation.
Yeah.
They'll craft these elaborate backstories, create fake profiles. They're essentially con artists who prey on people's longing for connection.
Oh, wow. So how do they actually convince people to hand over their hard-earned money?
They often accelerate the relationship at an unnatural pace.
Okay.
Lots of grand declarations of love, promises of a future together. Oh, gosh. They exploit that very human desire for connection, especially if someone is feeling lonely or isolated.
Right.
Then, once they've earned the victim's trust,
Yeah.
the requests for money start. Maybe it's a sudden family emergency or business opportunity they need help with.
Okay.
And often, they'll make up these elaborate excuses to avoid video calls.
Oh, so you never see them.
So the victim never sees their face.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a slow, calculated burn.
It is.
They draw you in emotionally before going for the financial jugular.
Yes.
And what's truly scary is the scale of this. In the first 4 months of 2024 alone, dating app scams in India resulted in losses of over 13 crore rupees from almost 2,000 reported cases.
Wow.
And that's just the reported cases.
Yeah, that's just what's been reported.
It makes you wonder how many people are suffering in silence.
You're right to think that those figures are just the tip of the iceberg. And what's even more concerning is that the tactics used in these dating app scams are often mirrored in job scams, which are also exploding in India right now.
That's a good point. And it seems like these job scams often target work-from-home opportunities. Why is that?
It preys on a very basic need. In a country like India with high unemployment rates,
Right.
who isn't looking for a way to make extra money,
Yeah.
especially from the comfort of their own home?
Right.
Scammers exploit that desperation.
Yeah.
So you see a job posting.
Yeah.
That seems incredible.
Like too good to be true.
Amazing pay, flexible hours, maybe even the promise of travel. But then
Yeah.
they ask you to pay an upfront fee
That upfront fee.
for training materials or a guaranteed placement.
Oh, I see.
Of course, once they have your money, the job vanishes
Right.
because it never existed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that classic bait and switch, but the stakes are so much higher because people's livelihoods are on the line. I read about these incredibly convincing fake job portals. They look so legitimate. It's no wonder people are being fooled.
Yes, that's what makes these scams so insidious. They prey on our trust.
Right.
They'll use the names of reputable companies,
Oh, wow.
build websites that look totally authentic,
Gosh.
all designed to lower your guard.
Wow.
And then there are the investment scams, which can be even more devastating in terms of the financial losses.
Speaking of devastating losses, we have the case of a woman in Faridabad who lost an unimaginable 7 crore rupees. That's over 8.5 million US dollars in a fake stock market trading scheme. How does something like that even happen?
It's a classic example of a Ponzi scheme.
A Ponzi scheme.
These schemes lure people in with promises of incredibly high returns with little to no risk. They dangle the possibility of easy money
Easy money.
and use funds from new investors to pay off older ones,
Okay.
creating this illusion of profit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
It's like a financial house of cards.
it is.
Eventually, it all comes crashing down, and the people who got in late lose everything.
That's right.
And then there's the Highbox app scam.
Yeah.
Estimates suggest Indians lost a collective 1,000 crore rupees on that one.
Yeah. The Highbox app scam stands out because it involved social media influencers.
Social media influences.
Promoting this mystery box investment concept. Being told you could earn massive returns just by opening digital boxes that supposedly held valuable items. It was all smoke and mirrors, of course.
Smoke and mirrors. It's heartbreaking to think how many people,
I know.
especially young people who may be less experienced with investments, were drawn in by these influencers and ended up losing their savings.
Yes.
It really highlights how these scams are evolving, becoming more sophisticated and harder to detect.
Absolutely. The scammers are constantly adapting their tactics,
Yeah.
finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities.
Wow.
And that brings us to what's perhaps the most unsettling type of scam we're seeing.
Okay.
Impersonation scams, where the scammers pretend to be law enforcement officers.
It's law enforcement.
It's frightening how convincing they can be.
These digital arrest scams, as they're called, sound terrifying. The source material mentions scammers using video calls, wearing uniforms, even using props to make themselves look like real officials. It's like something out of a movie.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It might seem like fiction,
Right.
but it's all too real for the victims.
Yeah.
So they get a message.
Uh-huh.
Could be an SMS, an email,
Cool.
or a WhatsApp message. And the scammer claims they are linked to some criminal activity.
Criminal activity.
It could be anything designed to scare them, like pornography or drug peddling.
Gosh.
Then they threaten arrest,
Arrest.
unless the victim pays a hefty fine.
Oh, wow. It's unbelievable how far these scammers will go to exploit people's fear and trust. One of the reports we have shows that Indians lost a staggering 120.3 crore rupees, over 150 million US dollars in just the first quarter of this year, to these digital arrest scams alone. It's clear that these scams are becoming more brazen. They're tapping into our anxieties and using technology to make their schemes seem legitimate. But what's making India so susceptible right now?
Right.
Why are these scams so prevalent there?
It's a complex interplay of factors. One of the most obvious is India's rapid digitization and the increasing accessibility of the internet.
Right.
More and more people are coming online every day, and many are unfamiliar with the potential dangers of the digital world.
It's like they're being thrown into the deep end without knowing how to swim.
Exactly. There's a lack of awareness, especially among certain demographics, about basic online safety practices.
Okay.
Many people don't know how to spot phishing attempts, verify sources, or protect their personal information. And then, of course, there's the issue of India's high unemployment rates.
Right.
People who are desperate for jobs and income are more likely to fall for scams that promise easy money or quick solutions to their financial problems.
That makes sense. It's like a predator sensing vulnerability.
Precisely. Economic vulnerability is a huge factor in the spread of scams. And unfortunately, there are regulatory loopholes that allow these scammers to operate with a sense of impunity in some cases. But it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about what the Indian government is doing to tackle this problem.
Yes, let's focus on some potential solutions. What steps are being taken to combat this wave of cybercrime.
Well, the government is aware of the issue and is trying to implement measures to combat cybercrime.
Okay.
One initiative they've put in place is the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal,
Okay.
which allows citizens to report incidents online.
That seems like a good first step. Is that the only thing they're doing?
No, they've also introduced something called the Chakshu facility
Dakshu.
on their Sanchar Sathi portal.
Sanchar Sathi portal.
This is designed to allow people to report communications they suspect are fraudulent.
So they're providing tools for reporting, which is great. But what about action?
Yeah.
Are they actively pursuing and shutting down these scammers?
Yes, there are efforts to identify and block international spoofed calls, which are frequently used in these scams. The Department of Telecommunications is heading that up.
Okay.
They are also going after individuals and companies involved in fraudulent activities. It's a complex problem, though, and it requires a multifaceted approach.
It sounds like a monumental task, but we need to give people hope. Let's talk about what they can do to protect themselves.
Absolutely. The most important thing is to stay informed and remain skeptical.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask questions and challenge anything that seems suspicious or too good to be true.
Yeah, that's such an important point. A healthy dose of skepticism can really be your best defense in the digital world.
So it's about trusting your gut.
Yeah, but what are some practical things people can do to protect themselves, I mean? How can you really verify information and keep your accounts safe?
Well, one strategy that's surprisingly effective is using search engines to your advantage.
Okay.
Let's say you get an email, a message, or a job offer. Something that just sets off alarm bells in your head, you know?
Right.
Copy and paste that text into a search engine and see what comes up.
Okay.
You might be surprised to find reports of similar scams or information about the person or company.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's amazing how much information is out there if you know where to look.
exactly.
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of social media.
Social media.
If you have doubts about a company or an investment opportunity, take a look at their social media profiles.
Okay.
Are people engaging with their content?
Uh-huh.
Are there genuine-looking reviews?
Oh.
Does their branding seem consistent?
Right.
If something feels off, like maybe their profile's brand new,
Right.
or they have very few followers, consider that a red flag.
Red flag. So it's like doing a background check before you get involved.
Precisely. And when it comes to investments, a golden rule is to only deal with entities that are registered and regulated.
Registered and regulated.
Okay. Don't hesitate to ask for proof of their credentials and verify their legitimacy with the appropriate authorities.
That's good advice for any kind of financial transaction,
Yep.
really.
Absolutely. And here's another crucial tip. Never, and I mean never, share personal or financial information over the phone, through email or messaging apps, unless you initiated the contact and you are absolutely certain of the source.
So even if a message looks like it's from your bank
Yeah.
or a company you trust,
Yeah.
it could be a fake.
Exactly. It could be a spoofed number or a phishing attempt
Okay.
designed to trick you into giving away your information. It's always safer to contact the organization directly using their official website or customer service number.
Okay, that makes sense. What about passwords? And account security? What should people be doing to protect themselves there?
Strong and unique passwords are essential for all your online accounts, especially your financial accounts.
Yeah.
Don't use the same password for multiple accounts.
Right.
And if it's offered, enable two-factor authentication.
Two-factor. Okay.
It might seem like a minor inconvenience,
Right.
but that extra layer of security can make a huge difference.
What about monitoring your accounts? Any tips for spotting fraudulent activity?
Regularly checking your bank and credit card statements is key.
Okay.
Look for any transactions you don't recognize.
Okay.
And if you do see something suspicious, report it to your bank or credit card company right away.
Okay.
Right away.
This is all great advice for prevention. But what if someone listening thinks they've already fallen victim to a scam? What should they do?
First of all, don't panic.
Okay.
It's important to act quickly, but also calmly and rationally.
Right.
Gather any evidence you have, emails, messages, screenshots,
Okay.
transaction records, anything that can help you build a case.
That makes sense. What should they do with that evidence?
The next step is to report the scam to the authorities.
Authorities. Okay.
In India, you can file a complaint with the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal or contact your local police station.
And if it involved a financial transaction, they should also report it to their bank or credit card company.
Yes, absolutely. They may be able to help you recover some of your losses or prevent further damage.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the mechanics of these scams and how to protect yourself.
Right.
But I think it's important to step back and consider the larger context.
Okay.
As we touched on earlier, scams often thrive in environments where people are vulnerable,
Okay.
where there's a lack of opportunity,
Okay.
and where trust is easily exploited.
So it's not just about individual responsibility.
Exactly. Scams are often a symptom of deeper social and economic problems.
So where does that leave India? What are the long-term implications of this cybercrime crisis if it's not addressed effectively?
It's a bit concerning, to be honest.
Yeah.
If it continues unchecked,
Yeah.
it could have a ripple effect throughout society.
Okay.
We could see an erosion of trust in institutions,
Right.
hindered economic growth,
Gosh.
and a widening of existing inequalities.
It sounds like a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
Scams create vulnerability, which leads to more scams.
that's exactly right. That's why it's crucial to address the root causes of this problem, not just the symptoms.
Okay.
It requires a collaborative effort from everyone.
Everyone.
The government, law enforcement, businesses, and individuals.
It sounds like a monumental task.
It is.
What would tackling the root causes even look like?
It's multifaceted, of course. But stronger law enforcement is a key piece of the puzzle. There needs to be a greater focus on investigating and prosecuting these scammers
Okay.
to make it clear that cybercrime won't be tolerated.
So making the cost of committing these crimes higher.
Yes, but it can't stop there.
Yeah.
Education and awareness campaigns are also crucial.
Right.
People need to be informed about the different types of scams, how to spot them, and what steps to take to protect themselves.
It's about empowering people, not just instilling fear.
Exactly. We need to create a culture where people feel empowered to report these crimes without fear of shame or stigma.
That makes a lot of sense. If people don't report these crimes, the authorities can't take action.
Right. Creating a culture of reporting will help authorities track down these scammers and bring them to justice. But it's not just about law enforcement and awareness.
Right.
We also need to address those underlying social and economic issues that contribute to vulnerability in the first place.
So things like poverty, unemployment,
Yes,
lack of access to education.
exactly. By tackling these issues head-on, we can help create a more resilient society,
Yeah.
one that's less susceptible to these scams.
It's a big challenge, but it's one that India needs to confront if it wants to safeguard its digital future.
Absolutely. The stakes are incredibly high.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. The tactics scammers use, the red flags to watch for, how to protect yourself, what to do if you've been scammed, and the broader implications of this crisis. But before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone listening with some concrete advice. If you could give just one piece of advice to help people avoid becoming victims, what would it be?
If I had to distill it down to one thing, it would be this. Be skeptical, but don't let fear paralyze you.
Okay.
Cybercrime is a serious issue. But by staying informed and taking sensible precautions, you can significantly reduce your risk.
It's about finding that balance between awareness and empowerment.
You've got it. Knowledge is power. And in the digital age, that's truer than ever before.
Well said. I think we're ready to dive into the specifics of what the Indian government is doing to combat this crisis.
Let's do it. There's a lot to unpack there.
So we've talked about the scale of this cybercrime wave hitting India
It's huge.
and the tactics that these scammers are using.
Yeah, they're getting sophisticated.
And what people can do, on an individual level
Right.
to protect themselves. But now I think it's time to zoom in on the government's response.
Okay.
What are they doing to fight back? What are the concrete actions being taken?
Well, the Indian government is tackling this on multiple fronts.
Okay.
One of the most significant steps has been setting up the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal.
The National Cybercrime Reporting Portal.
Yeah. This online platform gives citizens a direct way to report these cybercrime incidents.
So scams.
Yeah, scams, phishing attacks,
Okay.
online harassment, a whole range of issues.
It sounds like having a central place to report these crimes is crucial. But what kind of information can people provide through this portal?
It's really quite comprehensive.
Okay.
People can report the details of the incident,
Okay.
including information about the perpetrator if they know it,
Okay.
and any evidence they've gathered, emails, screenshots, things like that.
Right.
This all helps law enforcement agencies investigate and hopefully prosecute these crimes.
So it's not just a black hole where reports disappear.
Yeah.
This information is actually being used to take action.
Exactly. The portal is helping to streamline the reporting process
Okay.
and improve the coordination
Okay.
between the various agencies involved in fighting cybercrime.
That's good to hear. What other initiatives are they putting into place?
Well, they've also launched the Chakshu facility on their Sanchar Sathi portal.
Okay.
This one focuses on communications,
Okay.
so users can report suspected fraudulent messages.
So like spam calls.
Spam calls, yeah.
Okay.
Phishing attempts that are disguised as emails or texts,
Okay.
even fake job offers.
Oh, wow. So this is more about giving people a way to flag those potential scams before they actually snare someone.
Yes, it's all about prevention.
Okay.
Leveraging the collective awareness of the public
Right.
to create a safer online environment.
That makes sense. These initiatives sound promising,
Yeah.
but, the proof is in the pudding, right?
Right.
Are they actually having a positive impact?
It's still early,
Okay.
but we're seeing some encouraging signs.
Okay, good.
The National Cybercrime Reporting Portal has received a substantial volume of complaints,
Okay.
which is giving law enforcement agencies valuable data
Okay.
to identify patterns
Right.
and track down perpetrators.
Okay. That's definitely a step in the right direction. What about the Chakshu facility?
Yeah.
Is it proving effective?
Yes, it's been really helpful in identifying and blocking a large number of fraudulent communications. And perhaps just as importantly,
Okay.
it's raising awareness
Yeah.
among the public
Okay.
about the different types of scams
Right.
and the red flags to watch out for.
So it's not just about reacting to these crimes after they've already happened.
No.
It's about equipping people to avoid becoming a victim in the first place.
You've got it. It's about empowering individuals to be part of the solution.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
But reporting and prevention are only two parts of the equation.
Right.
What about enforcement?
Right.
Is the government doing anything to actually enhance their ability to investigate and prosecute these cybercriminals?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're making investments
Okay.
in training and technology for law enforcement agencies,
Okay.
and they're establishing specialized cybercrime units
Okay.
within police departments.
So they're recognizing that this isn't your average street crime.
Right.
Cybercrime requires a different set of skills.
Yeah. They're working to build the capacity to handle these complex investigations
Okay.
and prosecutions effectively.
It's also worth noting that cybercrime is rarely confined to just one country.
Right.
Are there any efforts to collaborate with other nations to address these cross-border challenges?
International cooperation is absolutely essential.
Okay.
These criminals often operate across borders.
Right.
So sharing information
Okay.
and coordinating efforts with other countries is vital. Okay. India is actively participating in international forums and partnerships
Oh, good.
to do just that.
So it's a recognition that this is a global problem that demands a global response.
That's exactly right.
Hmm.
Cybercrime transcends geographical boundaries.
Yeah.
And finding effective solutions requires collaboration, cooperation on a global scale.
It sounds like the Indian government is making some real progress.
They are. But what about the challenges?
Sure.
What hurdles are they still facing in this fight?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the sheer scale and complexity of cybercrime.
Okay.
It's a constantly evolving landscape
Right.
with new threats and tactics emerging all the
So
time.
it's like a never-ending game of catch-up.
It is.
All right.
As soon as you address one problem, another one pops up.
It certainly feels that way sometimes.
It does. It's a constant race to stay ahead of the criminals.
What other challenges are they facing?
Another major hurdle is the lack of skilled cybersecurity professionals.
Okay.
There simply aren't enough qualified individuals.
Okay.
Who can investigate, prevent, and respond to these crimes effectively.
Right.
It's a worldwide problem, but it's particularly acute in India right now.
So it's not just about having the right technology.
No,
It's about having the right people to wield it.
precisely. And that's not just a government problem.
Right.
We need more individuals interested in pursuing careers in cybersecurity.
It sounds like a call to action for anyone listening who's passionate about technology and wants to make a difference. What is the government doing to address this shortage of skilled professionals?
They're investing in cybersecurity education and training programs
Okay.
to develop a pipeline of qualified individuals.
Yeah.
And they're partnering with industry and academic institutions
Right.
to promote awareness
Okay.
and encourage more people to enter the field.
So they're taking a long-term view,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that investing in that future workforce is key to winning this battle.
Yes, it's about building a sustainable solution.
You know, India is clearly making strides in fighting this cybercrime problem, but it's obvious there's still a lot of work to be done. Looking ahead, what's your outlook on the future of cybercrime in India?
It would be naive to think that cybercrime will just disappear.
Right.
Um, as technology advances, criminals are going to find new ways to exploit it.
Right.
But I am optimistic
Okay.
that we're becoming more aware of the threats
Right.
and developing more effective ways to combat them.
So it's an ongoing process
Yeah,
of adaptation and innovation.
it is.
But it's not just up to governments and these tech experts to solve this.
Right.
What can each of us do to protect ourselves and contribute to a safer online environment?
Individuals play a crucial role.
Okay.
By staying informed, taking sensible precautions,
Right.
and reporting any suspicious activity, we can all make a difference.
So it's a collective responsibility.
It is.
We all have a part to play.
Absolutely. We all have a stake in this.
Right.
And we can all contribute to making the digital world a safer place.
That's a great point to end on. As we've seen, cybercrime is a complex issue
It is.
with no easy solutions.
No.
But by working together, governments, law enforcement, businesses, and individuals, we can create a more secure digital world for everyone. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of scams in India. We hope you found it informative and empowering. Remember, stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe out there. Until next time.